Are we on the same color?
Wait, are we? Of course, right?
We did not even plan that. And I was like,
Oh, Cyber Collective.
On the outside, didn't get the memo.
you can
So sorry.
stand in the middle. That's what me and my two best friends are always like, who should stand in the middle today? And when we take pick shuffle in, maybe another minute. It'd be great to, learn where you all are tuning in from. If you're comfortable sharing your location, I'm based in Philadelphia. And my name is Kaylee, and I'll share more about my role about Cyber Collective soon. But we also have some team members tuning in from the West Coast. Looks like we have Canada. Yeah, just drop in the chat where you're all tuning in from. It also would be interesting if you all would be willing to send a note about why or what makes you interested in the deepfake topic today. Always curious about that. Phoenix, New York, welcome everyone. Awesome. I think we're good to go ahead and get started here. So my name is Kaylee. I am the Marketing and Programs Director at Cyber Collective, and I'm so glad you're here. This is going to be a newish version of our workshop because the team that you see here today is new. So this is my first time officially supporting and hosting a Cyber Collective workshop. We have Lauren here, who is our Director of Creative and Community, and we have Adama here, who is our Operations Lead at Cyber Collective. So go ahead and give them a warm round of applause behind your muted microphones. We will jump right into the topic today. So we're going to be talking about deepfakes and how they affect how we consume information. What are they, and what are the ethics that we need to be thinking about when it comes to how they're affecting our society right now. The importance of why we're talking about deepfake technology and why it's so top of mind for a lot of people on the internet is that deepfakes are not highly technical to create. They're actually used on everything from entertainment and music videos to government misinformation. And so it's really important as people of the internet to be aware of this kind of technology and what the effects are of it. So we are going to be exploring deepfake technology, exploring how it's been showing up in mainstream culture. And then we're going to walk you through a breakdown of what exactly it is and unpack how this technology is impacting our digital safety and security. So by the end of this session, we really hope that we're able to support you in learning about deepfake technology, of course, but our overarching goal is to help people feel more safe, secure, and confident in their daily interactions with technology. Cyber Collective is a cybersecurity, privacy, and tech ethics nonprofit, and our big goal is to help people think critically about their relationship with technology and operate their online lives feeling secure and private. And we believe that if we can help communities become self-sufficient as it relates to tech safety and security, we'll be able to lower the spread of misinformation and disinformation and really help correct the failures of our traditional digital media practices and empower people to have agency and autonomy in their online lives. So the purpose of Cyber Collective and the reason why our founder, Tazeen Khan, founded it was to create a space where a diverse group of people can come together to contribute their perspectives, regardless of their technical or academic backgrounds, and create a space that honors our identities and lived experiences. And that's why I'm so excited to get further into this topic today, because we're going to be able to have some discussion time at the end to really reflect on what we learned about deepfake technology, but how it could uniquely impact our own lives. I'm going to just share a little bit about our method of how we run these workshops, because we do like to create a dialogue. We first educate everyone. We explain these concepts that we talk about, their social implications, but we do it in a way where you're going to be able to understand it. Sometimes, you know, these like big technical topics aren't, you walk away and you're like, what just happened? But I guarantee you, Lauren, who will be presenting today, the information she researched and everything, she's going to really break it down for you. So you'll be able to really clearly understand the topic and the impact. And then we also assess during the workshop. So we're going to be throwing out some polls, and it'd be great to get your opinions as we share them. We want to see if we're making sense, because we want to know that we're achieving our mission of making sure these topics are being able to be translated to like the everyday internet person or communities with different backgrounds and different, you know, different perspectives of how these topics would affect them. So I'm going to go right ahead and kick off the first poll. So one, really interested to hear from everyone here today if you've even heard of the term deepfake technology. We'll see what people say. Give it another minute. I will not, I'm so tempted to be like, but it was already recorded that I did that. Oh, alas. Let's see what people are saying. Lauren, are you able to publish the results yet? Are the results in?
Yes. Give me 1 second. Okay. You should be able to see them now.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. So we have about 88% of everybody here today has heard of deepfake technology before.
Nice.
So that's majority. That's pretty good. And it's okay if you haven't heard of it yet. And then our next question that we have for you all is, even if you have heard of it, do we actually feel like we know what it is? This is the big drum roll. What do we think, Lauren? Results are in?
Almost. Just a couple more, 2 more people, 1 more person. Tell us what you think before we end it. Cool, we got it. All right. Boom.
Okay, 75% do know what a deepfake is. That's good to know. I voted no. If somebody else voted no too, don't feel bad about it. We're going to learn all about that today. And then our last poll before we get into more details here are, what are your general feelings about deepfakes? From what you do know about it, positive, negative, what do you think?
This is hilarious. Just say this one in a second. The results.
Yeah. Mid is not an option. Positive.
Not an option.
Yeah, negative. Yep. Okay. That tracks. Yep. I understand. And interested to see that it skews mostly negative, and I wonder how that will change by the end of our session. But thanks for queuing up those polls, Lauren.
No
I think that is the last one, right? Do we have, if anybody has any other questions in the chat about it, or wants to raise their hand, we'll be able to get to more questions at the end too. So let's go right in and head into today's agenda. Okay, so I'm going to shortly pass the mic off to Lauren, because as you guys learned from that survey, while I have heard of deepfakes, this is going to be like a really deep dive for me as well, because they scare me. So we're going to get into, what is a deepfake? How do deepfakes impact you as a person on the internet, as somebody who whose life, may revolve around digital aspects? And then third, we're going to get into how to spot a deepfake, and then we're going to have some more time for discussion at the end. So Lauren, I'm so excited to hear from you, officially handing that Zoom mic over.
Thank you.
Can't wait to learn from you about deepfake technology.
Let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to do before I even explain what it is just give you a couple of examples of them. So let's look at this Tom Cruise one. This is Deep Tom Cruise. I don't know if you guys are familiar or have heard. Deep Tom Cruise is a deep fake of Tom Cruise. And as you can see, it's incredibly popular. It has 3.4 million followers. I'll just click one of them. Oh, this is the one you've probably seen before if you have. Give it a little second.
Just wanted to jump in and wish you luck. Congrats on the AFI awards. Congrats on life. Congrats on the look. Work on the humor a little bit.
Thanks, Tom. Take care. Just here at the AFI awards, that happens every 3
Well, that's Deep Tom Cruise. That's the first example. Then let's show you. This is Barack Obama.
Entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time, even if they would never say those things. So, for instance, they could have me say things like, I don't know, Killmonger was right, or Ben Carson is in the sunken place, or, how about this, simply, President Trump is a total and complete dipshit.
So that's one. And then just the last one to look at, if you
I get a little older,
Kendrick Lamar's
I realize life is perspective.
And throughout it, he have evolved.
All my people.
I come from a generation.
I'll show you the first one.
White House, get out and get his brains blown out. Looking to buy some weed, car.
There we go.
I done for you.
How you doing?
I said I do this for my culture to let y'all know what a nigga look like.
So there's a lot to talk about here. So those are the examples of them. So let's now, get into what exactly is it? So the term deepfake is a mashup of two terms: deep learning and fake. It's fake. It's photoshopped video, typically to look like a celebrity of some sort, a person in power. What is deep learning? It's a type of machine learning that imitates the way humans learn or gain knowledge. It's a data science that uses statistics and predictive modeling. Statistics deals in what's probable, right? If you flip a coin, how many times you're going to get heads, or what's the likelihood I will win the lottery. Predictive modeling takes past data and it uses it to predict future behavior. And as you can, as you saw, it can result in an extremely realistic looking video. And it's typically edited to make a person appear to do a thing they haven't done. Important to remember. How does that impact you? It's very interesting technology, but how does that impact you? Misinformation and disinformation campaigns. So in general, like that, they're just out there. You can create a video to have, anybody from Obama take Kim Kardashian, say something that's typically offensive and can convince you really happened. But it can also happen during elections, time of war, or big ticket items, like, anything that I don't want to get to. But so during elections, politicians can appear to be saying something incredibly anti what they stand for, and it can actually impact elections, how they go, because people aren't questioning, the source of everything at all times. And we kind of have to start doing that, which I'll get into later. It also affects content creation, beauty standards, mental health. Dove did this very great campaign on this that I'm going to show you guys, but I'll put out in the email so you guys can say it then too. Basically, they created a deepfake based on these kids and moms. I'm not sure it's going to be as clear as
Thank you. How do I want to sit? This.
Water there. You need a drink.
I don't want to ruin the lipstick.
Oh yeah.
Social media can be good, but it can be bad as well.
In terms of her building her confidence, it can build her confidence.
Margie is just trying to find herself now, you know. She's not influenced by social media yet.
Most of the influencers that I've seen have definitely had a positive impact on me.
Hey guys, here's a beauty hack I'm obsessed with.
I am so happy.
Look at how cinched my waist is. Look at how flat my stomach is.
It's the shortcut to flawless skin.
You know that Botox doesn't just reduce wrinkles, right? Baby Botox is amazing. You're never too young to start.
That is not me.
There are these great powders. They stop you feeling hungry so you can always skip breakfast and lunch.
And you have to treat yourself to a chemical peel.
So I'll pause it there. Adama just put the link in the chat if you want to check it out. It's a great campaign, you know. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. And if you're going to be extremely online, you know, which I am. I'm extremely online, trust me. We also have to be aware of the impact that's happening on our mental health. And so even though we all know filters exist and there's editing, I'm not sure it's clear to everybody how far it has gone. You know, as you're scrolling TikTok and you're scrolling Instagram, you know, editing has gone so far that it's almost as though we're constantly interacting with deepfakes. You know, in this example from Dove, it's their moms being altered to give their advice, but that's how it is. You know, anytime we're on these apps and things, just scrolling to like influencers and whatnot, you know, it's very good to be aware of the impact it's having, and that it's not always an accurate depiction of reality or even attainable, you know. Other ways deepfakes can impact you. Revenge porn is a huge issue. People can just take your images, because we all typically have pictures and videos of ourselves online that are enough to create a deepfake. Like, it isn't even an intense amount of images that you need, and unfortunately, that is a thing. But also social engineering, just like in the Dove campaign we just saw. Imagine if you received a text or an email that had a video and it looks like it's your friend, you know, and they're saying, hey, can you Venmo me real quick, you know, blah, blah, blah. And perhaps it's only $20, maybe it's 100, but as you can imagine, that can get out of hand pretty quickly. So this is pretty cool, and I hope this works, because I just realized we're on a thing here. But this is a deepfake detection game that I'm kind of obsessed with. So we're going to click it and see if we can check it out together. 1 second. Okay, there we go. So yeah, this is just a deepfake detection game that we can play a quick couple of rounds of. So vote in the chat, okay, if you're into this.
This is a PSA. You can't believe anything you see these days. These glasses aren't even real. Neither is my face. All this stuff was 3D.
Okay, so this is just the example that how big it can get. So we know it's fake. We're gonna submit that. Now here's the first one, okay, guys?
Do we need a pro-growth progressive tax code that treats workers as job creators as well, not just investors, that gets rid of unprotected loopholes like stepped-up basis, and it raises enough revenue to make sure that the Social Security and Medicare can stay, still needs adjustments, but can stay, and pay for the things we all acknowledge will grow the country?
Okay, quick question. Is that real or is it a deep fake? Put it in the chat if you want to vote. Real or is it fake? Real question mark? I feel like it could be real. Okay. I don't have quality video enough to tell. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Okay. I'm going to say it's real, somewhat fake, unsure. This is good, right? It's not old to tell. Let's say there's like a 77% chance it's real. It's real. This is real. So this is good. Okay, let's try another one. Oh, if it loads, oh no. Okay, here we go.
For our country, the Republicans want security and insist on security for our country, and we will have that. At the same time, we have compassion. We want to keep families together. It's very important. I'll be signing something in a little while that's going to do that.
Okay, is it real? Is this fake? I think it's real, and here's why. And this is stuff to keep in mind. Hopefully, I'm correct. Is it has the like, NBC News? He seems to have pretty natural movements. I think it's real. I think it's real. I'm gonna say it is real. Yep, this is real. Okay, so hopefully we have a fake one. See, I think all the fake ones aren't coming up right now, actually, which is really funny. So that's that. We'll share that link as well. I think it's actually great practice to see, I just want one fake one to come up, and I don't know why they're not loading. Maybe it's no, that's real too. Okay, anyway, you'll have that and you can play with that as well. Okay, cool. So, hold on. Pardon. Sorry, you guys. Thank you, Adamus. Just put it in the chat for anybody who wants it. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. So the whole point of that is to figure out how to spot a deepfake, because they are everywhere and they actually are becoming very realistic, as you saw with Tom Cruise and Obama too. So just like spotting a phishing campaign, you just have to be looking for what's off. And that's the key thing about deepfakes. You have to already kind of go into everything that you encounter on the internet now with the question of, is this real? You know, like if there's even an inkling in you, you kind of have to ask that question, and you'll spot things. Like an important thing is, did this video come straight from the source? You know, we live in a time where there are verified pages, you know, verified outlets to trust where they're coming from. If it's a video of Obama, did it come from Obama's page? Did it come from CNN's page? You know, these are important things. Is the URL off? Is it CNN.co.com? You know, that's not actually CNN.com. You know, if there are typos or spelling even in the caption of the video, but also in the video itself, if the audio is just a bit off, that's always a key. If there are strange like jumps or almost like glitches in the video, again, a sign. But even if that happens, if there are signs, or if you're just unsure, because it's not always clear, because the idea is to be convincingly fake, right? Is just check to see if it can be verified elsewhere. So for instance, if you have a video of Joe Biden and he's saying something just crazy that he would never say, just check a different outlet. Is it on CBS? Is it on Fox? I guess. You know, just look for a confirmation of what you're looking at elsewhere. That's the best bet. Kaylee.
Thank you so much for walking us through that, Lauren. I wonder how everybody's feeling right now. Did this make sense to you? Do you feel like you have a good handle on what a deepfake is? And what are your first reactions for if they're good or bad? Or are they middle ground? Because we should have added that option. Somebody did call that out, which is good. Yes, very scary.
Very scary. I agree.
One of the questions, so I'm assuming Obama probably knows, but does Tom Cruise know that like there's an active deepfake account? Like if one of us today found a deepfake account, what are we supposed to do about it? Right? Like
that's a great question. I actually don't know if Tom Cruise has heard of. I mean, at this point, I'm sure he's heard about it, but I'm not sure he's responded to it, but its existence. I should look that up actually, because I do think that is a thing. I think typically if you come across them, it's best to report the account on the app you're on, because they all typically have an element in the reporting function for, oh, this is fake, something like that, scam, spam, is probably good. In terms of like how we can protect ourselves, again, I think it's really just choosing to question everything. You know, like I think I'm pretty paranoid already and question everything, but a couple of times I've been tricked. So I think it's important to just always be like, is this real? Are you sure? You know?
Yeah, I think immediately about like content creators on social media or vloggers even, there's so much content that if somebody who was who intended to create a deep fake, there would be so much content from somebody who creates like income online from their content to do that. And I guess those are the kinds of things that we need to explore around the ethics of deep fakes. Lauren, in your research, did you come across any like use case of a deep fake that is super positive for like culture or social impact? I'm so curious because the way that I hear this and digest it is, you know, pretty negative, and I'm wondering how everybody feels in the audience too.
I would also be curious about the people's experiences with them. But honestly, the first good example or like positive example I'm familiar with is the Kendrick Lamar one, the video. I feel like every other iteration of it has always kind of been used either, you know, terribly, nefariously, you know, to do misinformation, disinformation, or to specifically raise awareness about deepfakes anyway, you know. So I'm intrigued, but also it brings up other ethics. You know, it's like in the Kendrick Lamar video, he kind of transforms into OJ, Kobe Bryant. Who's the other person? Nipsey Hussle, if you're familiar. And so, you know, those are two people who have already passed away. And so, is it okay to use their images? Did anybody have to sign off on that? Like, I'm extremely curious, you know, about those questions that come up, even in the good examples of them, you know.
Yeah, and you know what that made me think of? So I'm so glad you called out that example. What that made me think of right away is like, those are celebrities, right? What happens if deepfake technology gets so ingrained in our culture, and how will that affect, you know, we saw within the Dove campaign that spoke about like, you know, mental health around social media, beauty standards and influencing. But, and this is like a little dismal, so I apologize to the audience that my mind jumped here, but like, if deepfake technology is accessible and people are making deep fakes of people who passed away, how will that affect like humans' grieving process if loved ones pass away? Or like, you know how people do like taxidermy of their pets? Is that where we're going next with deep fakes of their pets when they pass away?
Digital taxidermy?
Yes, very Black Mirror. I did not know my thought process is going to go this way. And so I'm sure other people are, you know, kind of thinking this far ahead too. And I'm curious of what you all see. We've seen that to a degree, yes.
Also, yeah. Oh, holograms. Yeah, that's a good point.
And also, you called out with the Kendrick Lamar thing in movies and entertainment, there's been deep fakes, holograms, CGI, everything for a while. It feels very like afraid of the metaverse, but we're already in the metaverse. But yeah. Yeah, that's wild. Any other kind of thoughts on it, Lauren, or something that you were surprised about as you dug into this further?
Yes, if you Google deepfakes, the things that come up are use our app to create the best deepfake. Like, it's already a market. Like, and that's what really freaks me out. There are already apps that, just like upload pictures and will, you know, show you how to do a deepfake or like create you a deepfake. That's the thing that I think people aren't aware of, is that I think maybe even a couple of years ago, it was this, not conspiracy, but it's like a high level. Who's gonna create a deepfake of me? You know, like, I'm not a politician. I'm not anybody, but there are now apps that anybody can use and are popular on TikTok and whatnot, where anybody can create a deepfake for free, and it's pretty good. So that's, I think, what I want to end on, is that these apps are already extremely accessible. So, you know.
Right. And then that brings it back to our, like, everybody knowing best practices to personally protect themselves online, because, you know, even people who get hacked on Instagram, and there's like duplicate Instagram profiles that get created of them that ask for money. If it's that easy to duplicate your Instagram profile, I had one time I got hacked where somebody duplicated my Instagram profile down to the video in the highlights that I included and was going around asking people for money. I know, it was intense, and it was like a real person behind it. It was really creepy. But imagine if that person easily used deep fake technology to create news stories of me on the profile. Like, how do you even rein that in? But
that's terrifying. Yeah,
it's all really good things to think about, and I'm glad we got to raise our awareness today. Ashley asked, how would things change for entertainment? Like, when we look at Kendrick Lamar's video with what happens with celebrities and deepfake technology for movies, if these deepfake topics become more top of mind for culture, it'll be interesting to see if people like set some ground rules of like, don't bring back Kobe unless he tells you to in his dream.
That's what happened. Did we talk about this? Yeah, Kendrick heard from Nipsey's ghost, I think is what he said.
Right. Yeah, the idea of owning our likeness.
Yeah, you know, this actually came up recently. I saw like a tweet or something. Apparently in, I think it's like a Batman movie or the Avengers, something like that. I'm not really into them. They CGI'd one of the main actor's abs, and so people were talking about again how that's just impacting how we even think about our own bodies and stuff like that. So great point, Ashley, about what about celebrities and movies and stuff. It's at this point, it's I don't think we're far from people having in their contracts that it's okay to use me after I pass if the proceeds go to X, Y, and Z. And it's going to be such a strange time to have brand new TV and film from people who aren't here anymore. That's going to be weird. Yeah.
Wow. That's fascinating. And what you were saying even earlier about the like CGI abs, I'm not sure if anybody here was following the news topic about how Texas banned Instagram face filters because of the the boundaries they created around biometric data that could be collected. And then I'm not sure if anybody you followed talked about it, but there was some influencers on my feed that I followed that were really, upset about it, frustrated about it, to the point where they went and created like their own private VPN to log in to access the filters so that they didn't have to put on makeup every day. Wow, and I just found that, yeah, it's so real, but I just found it fascinating. Put on makeup every day, but then also keep up their branding, right? Because like when people choose those filters, it like adds to their brand and their vibe. But I found that fascinating because that's one of the ways where it's like you're almost putting on that deep fake element like makeup, and it's like this other element of getting dressed every day. So what power do you have over that too? Your own personal ethics of like understanding what you're doing there, that you're stepping up, that you're stepping into this other way of perception. Yeah, it's interesting because your brand is also lying. And also, well, for me, I'm like, maybe it's my mirror that's lying. Maybe it is.
This is the real me. Okay.
Filter. Yeah, it's fascinating to think about. Even on Zoom, you can, on your like everyday Zoom, you can adjust if it's blurring your face, blurring your background, what your color like contrast is. And then that I think speaks to the ethics of what is defined as a deep fake. Is it all the way down to that Instagram filter and what you're using? Is it down to that like tweaking your Zoom brightness?
No, exactly, because in grad school I studied the effects of being ostracized in like a digital space, and kind of the end conclusion of all that research was that how we occupy digital spaces actually extremely mirrors how we occupy physical spaces. And so the actual physiological impact of, being rejected at a party can also happen if you're blocked on Twitter. And so if I think of it like that, filters and stuff, it's lying in a way, but it's also like extremely human of us to always want to present our best. Like I wouldn't go out looking like X, Y, and Z, so I wouldn't post like that. But it's interesting to think about that. If we're all living increasingly online lives, is it okay to like alter it a bit how we would in the physical space?
Yeah, it is really interesting to think. It is a weird place, as Ashley says. In so many ways, we talk about the psychological effects of filters. And there's videos where people are like, this is not my face, but they're not really taking into consideration the types of effects that puts in place. Yeah, and also because the social media apps, the way that they're marketing them is fun, is silly. Like there's even TikTok trends around using a specific like face filter. I'm not sure if you guys have seen the crying face one, where like they point the filter to somebody and the person looks like they're crying. Just a very simple example of how, on the spectrum of deep fakes, we're hearing about deep fakes, we're thinking it's negative, but then these elements that use the same technology are being marketed to us as entertainment and positive fun. And like, it's still all within the same like spectrum or group. So there's, multiple sides to it, but.
And I think too, Ashley made a great point about not taking into account like the effects that are in place. I saw a TikTok that was incredibly interesting to me, where the filter added freckles, right? I'm thinking, oh, that's cute, like, it's that freckles. And then she pointed out the other areas it was changing her. She's like, actually, it also stretched my face a bit. It also, chiseled me here. And I think that's a deceptive part, where it's not always obvious, oh, I'm putting on a filter that's changing my whole thing. It's like, oh, I'm just adding freckles. And then you're like, wait, how come I don't look like that anymore? Like, oh, because you never did, sweetie,
Wait, Lauren, I got one for you. Okay, are you ready for this version? Do you think, like, because deepfakes are so easy to use, how from a content creation or marketing perspective, people talk about repurposing content, batching content for later to post out later on your social media? Is there going to be a world where people are using deepfakes to like do live Instagram stories instead of batching?
Absolutely. And I think that you just told me that, like, absolutely. Because if you think about it, batching content and stuff is like the pre-deepfake, right? It's still tricking you to say this happened on this day at this time, and it didn't. So a deepfake feature where their like avatar pretty much gets to have these experiences. Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I wonder who's already doing it, right? And then what's that going to lead to? I mean, this perspective that I'm bringing to the table right now is very much creator economy, digital creators, but like right now I've noticed a trend, and that's my own bubble and identity I bring to the conversation, but there's a trend of like people creating user-generated content as businesses. So like they will be the people who brands pay to create videos, create reels. Does that support their business if they're able to use deepfake technology, or will that take that business completely like out of our economy, or like, decrease that industry because we'll have deepfakes? Who knows? Yeah, it's really fascinating stuff, but thanks for talking us through it, Lauren. I feel like you were a great person to dive into.
I hope it was helpful. I know it can be a lot.
Level. You kept us from spiraling, and I feel like we all, really learned something. But I would love to hear just from you all as we wrap it up. Did you feel like you know, you learned what deepfakes were. Are you driven to change your behavior in any way after this presentation? We're going to be dropping a link in the chat to our survey that we run after every single workshop. It's about how, you know, how effective this workshop was for you. We try to track like what works, what doesn't, and how we can make improvements. So we'd love to learn more from you about how, you know, this workshop perhaps helped you in becoming more safe, secure, and confident online. What's something that you, like a behavior change, Lauren, that you're considering, especially after diving all into this research?
A behavior change I'm considering is probably confirming a video elsewhere, because at this point, even I feel like at this point anyone can be tricked, you know, and it's not anyone's fault. It's just extremely realistic. Like I think of the best case scenario, which is that there isn't anyone who's actively trying to harm me, right? It just happens because it can be confusing. And in that case, that's the worst. And so how I can avoid, you know, being tricked, right, is confirmation. I think people are quick to retweet, repost, reshare, you know, and it's good to inform, but only if it's accurate, you know. So I'm going to confirm everything from now on.
That's such a good reminder. We sometimes when Taz talks about, you know, cyber collective work, we bring up this topic of digital mindfulness. Lauren knows, and there's this like cute term that she says is critically click. So when you're going through the internet, you know, the information you're sorting through on the internet on a daily basis, if you're looking to reshare things, you know, understand what it is you're consuming, back it up with multiple sources, question what source it's coming from. And I think that will all support us in navigating, you know, those misinformation, disinformation risks immediately. But definitely look forward to more content from Cyber Collective and more space to discuss these types of topics in the future. And Lauren will share what that might look like, where that might look like. Lauren, do you want to give everybody here a little sneak peek into how we'll be able to continue these types of discussions in the future?
Yes. Give me a drum roll, you guys, because we're excited about this. We are going to start our Discord. I'm really excited about it, because if you're in the space at all, if you're into tech and stuff, you know Discord has become a great place to have community. Oh, they're clapping in the chat, yes. Because it's awesome, the channels and the access and how you can always go back to things. So Cyber Collective is really focused on building our community, and so that's going to be coming out over the next couple of weeks or so. So please stay tuned.
Yes, so excited. Thank you, Lauren, so much for sharing that. You'll be able to chat with Lauren specifically when the community launches, which is going to be amazing. Yes, it's going to be a great time. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining today. It means a lot that y'all have, you know, stopped by, learned more about deepfakes, and contributed to the conversation to explore the ethics around it. Again, this is a conversation that's not just going to end after today. We're going to be continuing to learn about these topics and see them show up in our media and see how they influence our lives. So stay tuned for more information from Cyber Collective to discuss that. We'll be sending out a recap of this workshop in next week's newsletter, so be sure you're signed up to our email list to receive that. And then if you can take that quick 1-minute survey, it really helps us understand if the content we're creating is impactful and helping you to think more critically about your online experience. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.